Okay, we love it. I confess, we absolutely love specialty papers, but this day we have some specialty plastic sheets. Kind of interesting.
They are. They are in 12-inch by 12-inch sheets. They come in at least 8 different colors, and they're really neat to play with. We're going to show you some new techniques for using them.
We absolutely are. Come play with us. Well, here they are. Just, isn't that fun? Lots of colors. Now, as Gail said, they're 12 by 12 sheets. They are plastic, but they're kind of plastic with a punch, don't you think?
Right, because they've got this beautiful holographic pattern that just kind of moves when you move it.
Right, and you can see there's a translucent quality to these.
Sure.
And there are pastel colors in this leaf design.
Right. There are also some neon colors. They come in the leaf design as well. Okay.
What are you taking?
Yeah, these, the leaf colors. These are the neon colors. There's a pink and orange in that beautiful leaf design. And then we have this moire, which is a beautiful long, there are these long strips. That's the difference between the leaf design and the moire, is that there are these very long sections. Right. And these come in this beautiful blue, this lime-colored, a yellow, and then the last is this beautiful pink bubbles, which is just exciting.
It's really fun because it pretty much dances right in front of you.
Yeah.
So, and as I said, that they're translucent, so you can use either side, however you like.
Right.
So, lots of fun things.
And how did we use them?
Oh, we did so many things. Okay, we are going to start first with a card, and this is the sidestep card, just in case you didn't know that. And look what's going on. This was done using a cutting die. Now, this is the circles and scallops. There's 4 circles, 4 scallops. You can see that both the straight circle as well as the scallop was used. And what Debbie found as she was doing this is that it was pretty easy to die cut these simple shapes.
Right, very simple shapes that don't have a lot of inner detail to them.
She also added dazzles. Now, these happen to be in this mirror gold. These are the fishies.
I love that she's put that right on top of the blue, so it looks like blue water back there.
And it does, because you get that design, and this was the moire design, right?
Right.
That it really kind of gives the look of water. So.
But she's also backed parts of the dazzles with the different colors. Even the balloons up above, I think, are really cute, too.
It just gives that little bit of flash.
And you can see through it still, which is neat.
Yes, very fun to have it hold the message that's on the dazzle sheet. You can see on this, and the little crab there holding a gift.
Well, I have to say, though, when we were experimenting with cutting dies, we found a little bit of difficulty with some of the more intricate cutting dies.
We found a problem.
We did.
Okay, so here's the problem, is that then she went to do more intricate ones like the happy birthday, the heart, and the swirl.
And they're kind of hard to pop out.
Yeah.
It gets the image, but we had to use an X-Acto knife to get it out the rest of the way. You don't want to do that with a cutting die.
And in some cases, it didn't come out at all. So
then we had this idea, if we had like the right kind of shim, because we used a lot of cardstock shims and it didn't really work.
Right.
And we asked John, our photographer, can you find us some metal?
Basically, John, will you go scour the local hardware stores and see what you can find? What a good sport.
Genius comes back with this flashing, metal flashing. It's something that's used on roofs. Can be a little bit sharp. If you do get any of this, please be careful with it. But they have little pieces of like this at the hardware store.
Right.
So we used a couple of those. First, I used one piece and ran that underneath the cutting die. So I put that, sandwiched it between the 2 plastic cutting platforms, but underneath the cutting die with the cutting edge up, away from the metal, because you don't want to dull your cutting die. And I used one piece, and it came out a lot easier. You can see it just coming out.
This is the viney swirl, right?
The viney swirl. So it really came out, but I still had kind of some little sticky areas that wouldn't quite cut all the way through. So then I used 2 of those metal pieces, and it pretty well popped right out. You have to work it a little bit on a couple of edges, but it did come out. I didn't have to use a knife to get that out.
That's so pretty.
It is beautiful.
Yes.
I love being able to use the cutting dies. And here's one that the cutting die is still on there. I want to say that when you do this, it really embeds it into that cutting die. So you really have to, you'll be pulling it away from that cutting die, but it does come out. You can see the cutting die popping off.
You can hear it pop.
Yeah, you can hear it. This stuff, when you cut it with a cutting platform, it makes interesting little noises.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it does. It's kind of neat. You can do that too, so you can hear it. And then you go ahead and pull it out. So with two, I was able to get a much better effect of having it come out. And you have to work it a little bit to get it to come out, but it does separate. So there,
okay.
see me pulling it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the trick.
Now the other thing I want to point out is that you're going to have the evacuated shape also as you're pulling this out.
Right. Here,
so,
this one was,
okay.
It was almost there.
You did it?
No, this was the one I had difficulty with. What am I doing? Right. So after you get this all the way out, and it does, it takes a minute to work out the pieces, but there.
If you watch Stamp Camp, you saw the first day was Stamp Camp 3, which is Teresa's new DVD. Mm-hmm. She did a technique actually using the same cutting die where she took cardstock, cut it out, and then used this to create a stencil.
Right.
If you use this piece, I mean, you're going to use this, of course,
right.
but you have your own stencil with that.
With a plastic stencil would be great for using embossing paste
Highly
or
reusable.
Inking through. And plus it's a beautiful stencil.
It is.
I do want to point out that while I was able to get some great detail and just work out the pieces a little bit at a time with that metal shim, I wasn't able to get every single one to work. There's some really tiny detail here that it's just kind of not friendly with the super fine detail, though it was pretty good.
And yet that's super
so you're not
fun,
going to get foolproof results, but
so we're making a disclaimer
tool,
here, right? Okay.
It's another tool.
So you can do now with the magic. John will go shopping for you. Just give him a buzz. Sorry, John. That you've got the simple shapes are going to be foolproof with just your regular cutting dies or the cutting dies and the machines. But to get the more detail, you'll need to go to the hardware store. So that's one way you can use these sheets. Now here is something that I am so surprised at, and I think it is absolutely gorgeous.
Isn't it beautiful? This looks like undersea, that looks like, an undersea voyage here. You've got that holographic, the water is moving
pretty.
in a pool of water.
And this is using
beautiful.
an embossing folder. It happens to be the swirl frame, so you can see that. But look what is going on with these holographic sheets.
Right. So you have that piece. That one happened to be the teal noir. And you place it into your embossing folder, run it through your machine as normal. It does come out with that embossed image. And here it is on the top is that raised image. So then I take the Surfaces ink pad, because this will work on more than just paper. It will work on plastics and acrylics, some other things. So get that open. It's a tight seal for a very good reason. And then you just run that across. Okay. I'm just going to use the edge of it.
Okay.
Run it across to get that. You want to get the ink to pop out and stand up on that raised embossed surface. Once you do that, the interesting thing, I'll just work at one end here, is that when you turn it over, it actually sort of reflects more.
That's what is such a surprise.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over again. See how pale it is?
It is very pale.
But on the other side, it has reflected. Now, I didn't have to choose which side to do this on. I just did it on one side and then turn it over.
It makes no difference which side.
Yeah, and there you go. It reflects through the plastic and it makes a more beautiful image.
And this was placed on the black suede, so it is even further having the light shine toward you.
Right. Black suede makes everything pop.
It does. But that is so lovely. And then you can see in this case, the center area was cut out
with an X-Acto knife.
Right. Or you could just do an embossed piece out of the suede and put that on top
of it. Too.
See the silver jewel dazzles on top, but isn't that just stunning?
It's beautiful.
And on the inside, Here it is with the suede being embossed, and then a piece of the holographic.
And so that was the center that was cut out from the front, used on the inside.
Exactly.
Nice
Never
idea.
throw anything away.
Oh, another thing I want to point out is that we found that when we're attaching this sheet, because you can see through it, you can pretty well see the zots or anything that we use. So we kind of like to cover them with dazzles or something like that, so it just leaves a nicer finish.
Okay. Beautifully done. Just gorgeous. So cutting dies, embossing folders, those are fun things. What else can we do? Well, how about if we go to our templates? And
an iris folding template.
Right.
This one happens to be
this is Teresa's number one. Now, I have to tell you, I would never have thought of doing iris folding, just with all the layers. But you don't fold it like you do paper.
You don't fold it. You just cut it, and you can use that your cutting platform to just cut away and get your strips. It does make it kind of thick.
It does.
So as you get to the edge of your design on the opposite side, you might want to cut them off as you go to sort of keep it close to the image.
Yeah.
Right.
But how pretty
Isn't that beautiful? It's just jewel-like.
And even just a little strip down here. And I have to say, I love having those little touches. I just think it's so pretty. And
it is. It's beautiful. And then with just a little bit of dazzles right on top of there.
So
gorgeous.
Quite gorgeous. So that's a good look. Here indeed is another good look, and this time this is the pink bubbles, as you can tell, and it just makes a beautiful backdrop. Now this is one of the new My Best Days stamps.
So this is
Chloe
stamped and colored in with Spectrum Noir, and it was so bright. It's just easy to add that to it, just to make more of a statement. And it's nice. All you have to do is cut it and just put it in the background.
Right.
You don't have to treat it or anything.
And even in this case, where if this were paper, we might do it as one piece. In this case, you could do two pieces if you wanted to just let it go further.
It's a 12 by 12 strip, so it's or piece sheet,
it is.
So it's a pretty big piece, but you want to make it go as far as you can.
So certainly for accenting, and that 12 by 12 sheet's going to go so far. But scrapbookers, you know we never forget you. Look at this.
Beautiful.
Very fun.
Two sheets were used here. We have the yellow, which is the yellow moire, and we have the lime moire.
Right. So this has obviously been stamped on. This is using the Fresh Cut stamp set. I'd like to show you the product because sometimes it just kind of helps to envision it. But these are large flowers, and before you do your demo, I just want you to see the dimension that was done. Now, you don't have to, but can you see how those are kind of pulled up?
They're curled up a little bit, right. And look at that beautiful, that black stickles on the center of those flowers.
Quite gorgeous. Let's go up here. And beautifully done. Okay, so what was done?
A little bit about the process. So I've got the yellow moire here, and I've cut it down to a size that I can stamp on easily. And I've got jet black stays on because it will work on these surfaces. You're not going to use fluid chalk inks on these because it'll just wipe off. So I've got one of the fresh cut flowers here. I'm just going to ink that up. And the way we were talking about it, it doesn't matter which side that you stamp on.
Just like the embossing folder, didn't matter which side.
You're just going to stamp on it. And when you do stamp on it, it's sort of going to look a little more pale than you would imagine.
It's going to look really pale, folks. So, you go, well, but Guy, what gives with that?
Look at that. I don't know if that's going to work.
Do I need to stamp it again? However, when we magically turn it over, look at that.
Just beautiful.
It's just gorgeous. So it's striking, and it works.
And it works. And so here's that piece that on one side is rather dull, and on the other side it's super shiny. But if you like the edges to curl up, you can just get a heat gun, and keeping away from your fingers, go ahead and just heat the edges of that. And they'll, on their own, they start to curl up, or you can grab onto tweezers and pull them up, give it a little bit of heat, give it a second, and it'll start to come up magically. It takes a minute. There we go.
There we go.
There you can see them. Can you see them?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try to make it, turn it so that you can see them just so. Come on.
Yeah, and you can talk to it, whatever works. I see them flapping there.
There we go.
So it's softening the plastic as you would expect.
You can also grab tweezers, like I say, and sort of, I'm even kind of There, you can see that.
So that's the ease with which, so you're not really doing the heat gun over the whole thing, you're just doing the tips.
Just on the edges.
Whether that's the tips of the flowers or the leaves. Now, you could certainly leave them flat, and they're going to be kind of like vellum in that they're translucent, but you're going to get the design in it. So whether it's those leaf design, the moire, the bubbles, you're going to get that extra benefit.
Right.
So very, very
just
fun.
Beautiful. I love the lime on those. It's just really popping out behind the yellow. It's just a great look.
Very nice. We've got our family there. Now we have one last one to show, and this is quite a combination of multiple things. So we have our paper doll stamp, which is right here. I think we're currently out of it, but more is coming in shortly, so I just want to tell you that.
Yeah, we have to get more of those.
We do, we do.
Those are great fun. And we have two of the neon sheets. So we have the pink and the orange neon leaf.
Okay.
And that's what you're seeing coming out from behind her with those beautiful fairy feather wings.
Right. And so you were able to use the template?
I was able to use the template. However, I can't really fold that. I mean, you can score it and you can fold it a little bit.
Okay.
But nothing to where it's going to stay flat. So my idea for that was to take the designs that I needed, which in this one, and it's on the gallery, I used the number 2 quail feather and the number 2 owl feather. I traced one side right onto the plastic, which in this case you can use a pencil. You can see it pretty well.
Oh, good.
And then knowing where the edges of those points were from the top and the bottom, I just flipped it over and traced the other side so I could get a full leaf sheet.
Now you were also able to do the feather cutting. So that wasn't a problem?
Just with scissors, yeah. It's pretty simple to, here, I'll show you. It's pretty simple to cut it. And you can cut, in pretty detailed. It's not just the same as paper, and as far as feather cuts, you just go like that.
No problem.
Go down the line. And then on the ends of those feather cuts, I used the same technique that we did for the flowers. I just heated them up to raise them up. Okay. Before I did that, I swiped the edges with Versamark, and I applied a little bit of Wow glitter embossing powder.
Wow, okay.
I also put some down the center. So.
Now the girl has been stamped onto, is this the light blue or light green?
That is the light blue. That's the light blue leaf. Blue or green? I'll check the gallery. And then she was embossed in black glitter zing embossing powder.
Wow.
And I used a Versamark on some details to add some of the Versamarker to add some details there. And
wow.
I actually backed her on white cardstock too, so she wouldn't be translucent. I didn't want to see all the workings of the wings right in the back.
Right. So. Okay. And as I said, this is on a center step card, so you just need to do the pieces on the sides.
Right. The patterns come with the center step card, and this was on the Feathers paper pack. Anything is possible with stamp down here. That comes with a stamp set. And then just tiny little 1/8" strips, which I actually attached, the wings especially, and these as well, with Ultra Tape. Just a little bit of Ultra Tape, because it looked, to me, less noticeable than Zot's. It seems like this is round behind it. You can see it. And then I covered up the ends with Dazzle.
So these holographic sheets, just to kind of bring them back in, it looks like there's just lots of possibilities. So with cutting dies and with embossing folders and going to the hardware store, now that you know, as well as stamping, and Dazzles, of course.
Stamping and inking and just having lots of fun and seeing different ways of using them.
That's great.